not wear enemy uniforms behind governmental lines when they're doing one of these "we will create our insurgency." US policy says, in fact, that special forces can do that, which is against international law. But actually, no one seems to give a damn. Why? It's basic media economics. It's 200 and something pages. No one has time to read it. It has a couple of military acronyms in it, like DS for Department of State. Someone has to bother picking up a dictionary. And that tax on understanding is too high. So maybe intelligence agencies from other countries, countries that have been invaded, actually maybe take this material and use it. But it doesn't enter into the general political discourse. So we have tried to think of a way to provide incentives, sustainable incentives to journalists to give them the time to read the material. And we did an experiment earlier on where we had nearly 7,000 emails from Hugo Chávez's former speechwriter. And well, that's a lot of material, and we knew from past experience that if we release a lot of material, no journalist will write about it. They don't have the time to look at it, and you need experienced people to write about serious things. So we decided we'd try and measure who was willing to invest the most, and we did an auction for exclusivity, and found that actually that was really, really hard. That the logistics were too hard. We had approaches from various people. They wanted to see some of the material before they work out how to pay for it, but then other people didn't want anyone to see any of the other material. Just too hard. So there seems to be a natural form of exclusivity which we can give, which is when a journalist or media organization, or perhaps we'll extend this to bloggers as well, is involved in bringing in the material in the first place, then they can have exclusivity for it for a period of time. And that allows them to invest in the material. So normally when we release something, it goes from zero supply, which has high value because we're the only ones who have it, to infinite supply. So in an economic sense, when we release a big document, it goes to zero value. And journalists can't profit from it because everyone can profit from it. Because everyone can profit from it, no one profits from it. Very strange and counterintuitive thing. So we've designing
yes.
A system to syndicate the submissions. So every human rights organization can stick in little embed on their pages, or every media organization, to say, send this material to me via WikiLeaks. So we will then take care of shoving it through different protective jurisdictions. We will take care of stripping out, sanitizing and stripping out metadata, and we'll take care of the eventual legal risks that have to do with final publication. And so I think we can actually increase the volume of material we're getting that's significant by about 1,000 times, but also we can vastly increase the quality of secondary reporting on what we're doing. And you know, if we release material and it has no political impact, we're not doing our job. There's still some political impact for search engines, even if the press doesn't write about it. About 40% of our hits are from search engines. So, but it doesn't enter into the general political discourse, so it doesn't change what people think that other people are thinking. Okay, next.
Yes, so the source, just as a little more detail, the source can provide a certain time frame to a journalist or a newspaper to investigate into this material. After this time frame is passed, we will still publish, so nothing changes about that. That is important to understand maybe. All documents are still being published in full. We are just making sure that people that there is an impact maximization, so that someone picks up the material and actually writes about it. If it is being granted to a certain journalist and that journalist does not write about it, then that is a story in itself maybe as well, understanding why a certain newspaper is not picking up material that was sent to them. And that can then follow up on how good or accurate are they doing their jobs anyways. So it's going to create a lot of dynamic mechanisms that's going to make, let's say, news a little bit more interesting maybe in the future. Also, we can potentially scale with this submission system to providing mechanisms within governments or corporations for whistleblowing programs. There is no working whistleblowing program that we are aware of other than the one that we provide. And we'd like to help creating this transparency within governments and corporations as well, so that an employee could use that mechanism to send something to an oversight committee within his company or within the government or something similar. As Julian mentioned, we have this availability versus scarcity problem. We hope to strengthen the bonds between readers and the newspapers, so that people who are reading a story in the newspaper and know they have a document they could contribute to the story actually feel motivated to do so and have an easygoing way to shed more light on what the newspaper reported out about before. And that also will especially scale very well with local and independent media outlets. So whoever cannot really defend himself legally will profit from the system, and all those people that just cannot provide the resources that we can offer with the infrastructure that we are running. So that was that is one of the major features that we are working on. When we earlier put together the slides, we realized that we are jumping a little bit from topic to topic, but that is, as Julian said, just because so many things are happening and they are all kind of important that it's really hard to decide what to talk about. We have one topic that we definitely need to talk about. And this is a topic that maybe fits this whole conference more than anything else we can provide. It's the Here Be Dragons topic, because we are going onto a very, very new territory with an experiment that we have tried to seed with the people of Iceland. So we've been to a conference at the beginning, at the end of November in Iceland. And for those of you who don't know, we published the loan book of one of the largest Icelandic banks back in, what was it, August?
August 31st.
Yes. And the loan book exposed who was taking all the money out of this bank shortly before it went bankrupt. And it was really important to every single person living in Iceland, in a population of 300,000 people. That's such a small microcosm that everyone is affected by the bankruptcy of the banks. And everyone could have a look at this loan book and understand what insiders took all the money out of the country before all the system went down. So there were facts on the table where people could understand who had actually robbed the country and who had sent them to debt slavery for the next generations to come.
So about 6 billion euros represented by that loan book. And
yes.
2 days after we released it, the national broadcaster RUV, the BBC equivalent of Iceland, made it their major story on the evening news. 5 minutes before they went to press, an injunction landed on the news desk, and they couldn't say anything. First time in history for Icelandic TV news. So they just said, well, we can't tell you what's in the report, and we have nothing else to say. So here's the picture of the website that has the report. We'll just leave it there for the next few minutes.
So a while ago, every time we're meeting or talking, there are some ideas that are coming up because of the things we observe. And Julian had this great idea at some point in time, talking to me, telling me what he thinks an offshore finance center is. And I've never thought about it in these basic terms before. So that is interesting or important to understand maybe. So mainly offshore finance centers exist on islands. So you find them on the British Virgin Islands or in the Cayman Islands or on these small islands near England or wherever you look. It's small places that have limited resources and that cannot compete with any major industry or whatever they could offer. So they could maybe get tourists coming to their country, but this is not really maybe as big money as attracting some of the real business. So these people, what they do, the only thing they do is they provide a specialized package of laws. And this package of laws sums up all the laws that make it attractive to you to hide your money, to bring your business registration to this place, to hide your assets there. And basically, these places have become hideouts for all the people that are exploiting this world and that are dealing in secrecy and that are
suing us.
Suing us, yes. Most of these people are residing in these countries. So Julian said, this is, why not reverse it? Why not make it the other way around? So what could